You need to drive here in California to make a living. Point blank, period.
Yes.
So that really eats up at your monthly burn rate, as just society, right?
And I know that there's some sort of a mandate of everyone having to go electric vehicle by 2035, I think. That just shows you how out of touch our current government is with the average person. How are they going to afford to get an electric car?
So that right there may explain why California's plan to phase gasoline-powered cars out of the new car market is losing the public. A statewide survey found that 66% of California adults and 65% of likely voters oppose Governor Gavin Newsom's 2035 plan. Now, that's not really, I wouldn't consider that a narrow partisan split. Nearly 2 out of every 3 California surveyed said, no, absolutely not. And before anybody misrepresents what I'm saying, this video is not about pretending electric vehicles have no benefits whatsoever. I mean, they're kind of okay in certain situations. This is about something much bigger. Can the government force an entire transportation market to change before the public believes the infrastructure, affordability, and technology are actually ready? Huh? Because California may want the future, but Californians clearly do not trust the state's plan for getting us there. What's poppin', everybody? This is Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody who drives in California, because this policy could eventually affect nearly everybody shopping for a new vehicle in this state. And let me make this important correction at the beginning. California's original rule does not mean that every gasoline-powered vehicle already on the road becomes illegal in 2035. Now, this applies to automakers and the sale of new passenger cars and light trucks. Existing gasoline vehicles could still be owned, driven, and sold as used vehicles. The regulation also counts qualifying plug-in hybrids as part of the zero-emission category, although automakers would face limits on how much their requirement could be satisfied through plug-in hybrids. That clarification is important, but it does not eliminate the larger issue. California was attempting to dictate what types of new vehicles would be available to consumers, and most Californians now oppose that attempt. According to the same survey, only about 1 in 5 Californians said they were extremely or very confident that the state would build enough infrastructure to support large numbers of electric vehicles. Nearly half said they were either not too confident or not confident at all, and 54% said they had not considered purchasing an electric vehicle. Now, that number has increased considerably since 2023. That doesn't sound like a population rejecting cleaner air. In fact, the same survey found that 75% of Californians believe the state's earlier greenhouse gas reduction law has mostly been good for California. The public is capable of holding 2 thoughts at the same time. We can want cleaner air, less smog, and we can also believe that this particular mandate is moving far ahead of reality. That distinction matters because politicians will sometimes frame opposition as ignorance. They will say that people don't understand the environment. Maybe people understand their bank accounts. Maybe they understand that they live in an apartment without a private garage. Maybe they understand that their parking space does not have a charger. Maybe they know that they cannot simply spend thousands of dollars upgrading the electrical system at a property they do not own. And maybe they do not want Sacramento reducing their choices before Sacramento has solved those problems.
The Senate overturned California's plan to ban new gas-powered car sales by 2035. But here's the part that everyone's glossing over. This is not finished, not even close. Newsom and the state of California immediately pushed back, using their 11% U.S. auto market share to push forward their agenda. And it's been a full-on legal fight. Congress used something called the Congressional Review Act to revoke the federal waiver that allowed California to make that rule in the first place. And Trump signed it into law. So at the federal level, the ban is blocked. But now California is basically saying you don't have the authority to take that away, but the federal government is saying we absolutely do. So what does this actually mean for you? Right now, nothing changes overnight. And although it seems like it's a final decision, it's a court battle in progress.
This is another part of the story that needs to be explained accurately. The federal government acted against the waivers California relied upon to enforce its advanced Clean Cars 2 regulation. Congress passed resolutions disproving those vehicle emission waivers, and President Trump signed them into law in June of 2025. The federal EPA's position is that the action blocked California's mandate. California's position is that Congress improperly used the Congressional Review Act against waivers that are not legally the same thing as federal regulations. California filed a lawsuit challenging the federal action. So as of right now, the safest and most accurate way to describe this is the 2035 mandate has been blocked at the federal level, but California is continuing to challenge that decision through the courts. That means there are really two debates happening. One debate is over electric vehicles. The other is over power. How much authority should California have to create vehicle standards that go beyond federal requirements? And how much authority should the federal government have to stop California? Those are legitimate legal questions. But while politicians and attorneys argue about jurisdiction, California residents are asking a more immediate question. How much is this going to cost us?
Oh man, how much is this going to cost me to repair?
Now let's return to what the first speaker said. In California, many people need to drive to make a living. That is especially true in Southern California. Folks commute between cities. They work irregular hours. They transport tools, equipment, merchandise, children, elderly relatives. They may work 2 jobs in completely different parts of the county. Telling someone to take public transportation sounds easy until that person's commute involves multiple buses, a train, and several hours of travel. When government officials talk about replacing one transportation system for another, they're not discussing an abstract environmental theory. They're talking about whether people can get to work, whether they can afford another car payment, whether they can charge the car where they live, whether they can repair the vehicle after the warranty ends. And electric cars are very expensive, and whether they will still have access to a vehicle that actually fits their life. The issue is not whether an electric vehicle works for somebody. For many people, it works extremely well. The issue is whether government should remove other options before the replacement works for almost everybody. That is where California repeatedly gets itself in trouble. The state announces the deadline first. Then it attempts to solve affordability, infrastructure, and implementation afterward. And when residents ask legitimate questions, the questions are treated as resistance to progress. Sometimes people are not resisting progress. They're resisting being used as test subjects for a political timeline.
Okie doke. Tag somebody in California who thinks that they're helping poor people buy electric cars. They're not. You like the reality? It's a myth. Rebate paperwork is processed so slowly that funds run out before working families are even approved. Historically, the money went straight to wealthy Tesla buyers who didn't even need it. The lovely Air Resource Board created a first-come, first-served system that favors the rich. The system rewards speed and privilege, not need.
I'd be very careful about accepting every accusation in that video without examining the evidence. But the broader concern is legitimate. A government program can look generous on a press release and still be difficult for an ordinary person to use. A rebate may not help a family that does not have the money to make the purchase up front. A tax credit may not solve the problem for someone who cannot qualify for the loan. An online application may be easy for someone with time, reliable internet access, and experience completing government paperwork. It may not be easy for someone working 2 jobs who does not even know the program exists. California previously operated the Clean Vehicle Rebate Project on a first-come, first-served basis, although that particular program closed in November of 2023. California currently has other programs directed more specifically towards income-qualified drivers, including Clean Cars 4 and the Driving Clean Assistance Program. So it would be wrong to say California offers no help. There is help. The real question is, whether those limited programs can make a statewide transition affordable for the numbers of people who would eventually need assistance. Are we building a system where lower income residents become dependent on applications, qualifications, and limited government funds simply to obtain reliable transportation? That's a conversation worth having, because affordability can't be treated as a side issue. Affordability is the issue.
California just quietly released a $7,500 EV incentive that is for California only, and you have to fit in this parameter here, but still very interesting to see this. California just quietly launched a new program to pay for your new electric vehicle / Tesla battery replacement, and this is up to $7,500. They funded $10 million on this. They're calling this the ZAP program, or Zero Emissions Assurance Project. And how this seems to be working here is that they will offer a repair cost of up to $7,500 if you need to fix your electric vehicle. There's a full details here on it, and it seems like Zap will offer a vehicle purchase grant up to $10,000 to purchase or at least a newer vehicle for clients whose repair costs exceed $7,500 and who choose to surrender the vehicle to Zap in lieu of repair. So, I mean, you can get $7,500 or you can get more than $10,000 depending on the actual situation here.
This video contains useful information, but it still needs an important question. This is not a general $7,500 payment for any Californian who needs a Tesla battery or wants to buy an electric vehicle. The program is called Zero Emission Assurance Project, or ZAP. It is designed for qualifying lower-income Californians who continuously own a used, clean vehicle purchased through specific CARB assistance programs. For eligible participants, it can provide up to $7,500 towards a failed battery or fuel cell component that is not covered by the manufacturer's warranty. When the qualifying repair exceeds $7,500, an eligible participant may instead receive up to $10,000 towards purchasing or leasing a newer, clean vehicle after surrendering the original vehicle to the program. And I want to be fair, for the people who qualify, this could prevent a devastating repair bill. Yes, that is a positive thing. But the program also reveals something that deserves more attention. The state itself recognizes that concerns about premature battery deprecation, and expensive repairs can discourage lower income people from purchasing used electric vehicles. That concern is not imaginary. California is spending public money to reduce it. So before reducing consumer choice, the state should be able to answer several questions. What happens when millions of electric vehicles eventually enter the used car market? Will replacement batteries become substantially cheaper? Will independent repair shops have affordable access to parts, training, and diagnostic equipment? Will lower income drivers be able to purchase used EVs without becoming dependent on a limited assistance fund? And what happens when the programs run out of money? Those are not anti-electric vehicle questions. Those are pro-consumer questions. This entire conversation has been pushed into two extreme positions. One side acts as though electric vehicles will solve every transportation and environmental problem. The other side acts as though every electric vehicle is useless. Neither position is serious. Electric vehicles can offer lower routine maintenance, quiet operation, strong performance, and freedom from gasoline purchases. They can make sense for homeowners who have charging access and predictable daily driving patterns. But does that mean every Californian is ready to use one? And it certainly does not mean the government should eliminate competing choices before the public is confident in the transition. Now, California's own original regulation claims significant reductions in pollution and major public health benefits. Those goals deserve to be discussed honestly. But the government does not earn public trust simply by announcing that its intentions are good. It earns trust by proving that its plan is practical. Can the electrical infrastructure support it? Can renters participate? Can lower income families afford it? Can people repair these vehicles outside of the dealership? Can people who drive long distances for work use them without losing time or income? And can all of this happen without raising the cost of basic transportation? When nearly 2/3 of the state opposes your policy, dismissing those people is not leadership. It's a warning that the policy may be moving faster than public confidence. Look, California did not suddenly become anti-environment. California did not suddenly become anti-technology. And California did not suddenly become emotionally attached to gasoline pumps. Even though I like my gasoline engine, but that's neither here nor there. Californians are tired of being presented with ambitious government mandates before the government handles the basic details. The state wants people to trust a massive transformation of transportation, but residents look around and see high living expenses, expensive electricity, inadequate charging access, and government programs that require more programs to repair the problems created by the first program. That is why this issue is bigger than electric vehicles. It's about whether government exists to give people better choices or to make the choice for them. It's about whether the transition should be driven by consumer demand and improving technology or forced through political deadlines. And it's about whether Sacramento is listening to the people who will actually have to pay for it. Because according to this latest survey, Californians are speaking very clearly. They may support cleaner air, they may support electric vehicles, but they do not support being forced into a plan they do not believe is ready.